We're live. What's up? Welcome in, everybody. Again, we have some breaking news. The draft is already going off the rails. Aaron Rodgers is going to get traded, but we're going to bring you some more fun here. Some underdog best ball drafting. Again, use promo code PFF. You can get $10 off a free subscription to PFF, and that doesn't even include the Draft 30 promo that we're also doing. And Best Ball Underdog is also doing another where if you deposit today, you get $25 free. So there's just a bundle of different deals going on. Jared, so many things are happening right now, man.
Yeah, I'm hanging on here by a thread as one of PFF's resident Packers fans. Don't know what to do with this Aaron Rodgers craziness, so I guess I'll drown my sorrows in fantasy football underdog drafts. And
yes, you will. It's man, like the latest report has said that they don't expect him to be on the team. Like he's going to get traded this weekend. And I know that Steve had just mentioned that he picked the Dolphins as a potential team. This is just madness, man. It's absolute insanity of what's happening right now.
Yeah, I feel like it's a strange time for this news to leak. Right?
Well,
like, I feel like there's some ulterior agenda here for the news to come out right now that Rodgers is maybe pushing the Packers to do what he wants in this draft, whether it's get a receiver like a Rashad Bateman or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because it's like, all right, so the receivers have just jumped up at the top of every of the Green Bay Packers boards. It's like he commands the draft. I mean, this is what happens, though. The news is always going to leak when the draft comes along because that's when teams ultimately have to make moves and make trades. And you're hearing all these trade rumors now that, even the 49ers had offered to trade for Aaron Rodgers, straight up. And they said no. And now it's like maybe they should have said yes.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens over the next couple hours. Just need to distract ourselves with these best ball drafts, I think, in the meantime.
Yeah, dude, so many mock drafts I've done. I'm trying to figure out now. And now the other thing too is so the betting market has totally flipped on Mac Jones. Now Trey Lance is the favorite, I believe, and that's pretty or what that usually means is that some information leaked, and that's why all the heavy money came in. I don't even know if you can get it now anymore if it's been taken off lines, but that's where we're at right now. It's not good for Mac Jones.
Yeah, Trey Lance always, I think, should be the guy there if you're not going to go with Fields, right? Like you trade up all these assets to get all the way to number 3. Get a guy with the tools who can become the best quarterback in this draft, who can become a Patrick Mahomes type superstar.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, but again, I guess it's maybe not crazy because it's kind of what everybody wanted anyway, for the most part. I don't know if there were a ton of people that were advocating for Mac Jones to be the pick. I know that if it had been me, I would have wanted to go with Lance or Fields. So I guess it kind of makes sense that that's the direction that they're ultimately going in after it's seemingly like a 3-month battle on social media with 49. Oh man, it's just the draft can't come soon enough, man. It's just got to come so we can just stop speculating on things and finally, figure out where these guys are going to go and then kind of dive into the analysis from there. But
exactly. Yeah. I mean, it just gets like beaten to death. It's brutal. I know 49ers fans are going to lose their mind if Mac Jones is going to be picked, and it's going to hurt that much worse because now they're like, oh, it's going to be Lance. You've had that taste of Kyle Shanahan understanding what the right decision is, and then boop, rug gets pulled out, and it's Mac Jones.
Yeah, it's awful. All right, so how have you been doing in this draft so far? I know we kind of hit off some of the hot topics, but I know I have Burrow, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift, and Jamar Chase because I think that Jamar Chase is going to be the pick. So I'm trying to get the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase stack there going. Oh, and I'm going to add my boy Kyle Pitts to this lineup as well because he's going to probably be Atlanta Falcon. And I think that at least the way that I looked at it with him being drafted by the Falcons, let me make my pick first before I dive into my analysis. What do I want to do with here? Etienne, Devontae Smith. I'm going to go with Jerry Jeudy. Get some Jeudy action. Hopefully that our guy or Justin Fields can fall to the Broncos. get some Jerry Jeudy some decent quarterback play. That's not Teddy Bridgewater. Friends don't let Teddy Bridgewater stop you from drafting Justin Fields is my main message from today's show.
I'm going quarterback crazy. Just went Fields and Lance back-to-back picks.
Dude, you can't go. I mean, hey, one of them's going to hit. Exactly. That's what's going to happen. But yeah, so Burrow, Chase, Kyle Pitts. It looks like it's going to be Pitts and then Chase 4 and 5 in the real draft. I think that the Falcons now have maybe come to the conclusion that it is going to be Trey Lance, which is why the reports have come out saying that it's like a firm, it's going to be Kyle Pitts, because I think that the Falcons would have entertained the idea of drafting Trey Lance at 4, but now that he's not going to be on the board, apparently it's like, okay, well, the Pitts is their guy. That's who they're going to go with.
Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world for them to go Pitts. It matches up with the Julio rumors also. And he's just is such a freak. And I know they're obviously trying to trade down. They're like basically begging teams at this point, like, hey, offer us a bunch of first round picks so you can come up and grab a quarterback. Doesn't look like it's going to happen. So might as well just grab Pitts at that point.
Yep, exactly. All right. So what do we got here for quarterbacks that are left? Not a lot. It's Mac Jones, whose stock is crumbling right now at the moment. Trying to figure out where he's going. So yeah, I guess where does this mean Mac Jones goes? If he's not going to San Francisco, because now I need to basically go through all my mock drafts where I have Mac Jones at number 3. I have to adjust him and basically swap him out with one of the other quarterbacks. So is it the football team? Is it the Patriots? Now, is it the Patriots now just going away from this mobile quarterback? They're going to be like, all right, we want Mac Jones. We're going to get Garoppolo. So Mac Jones and Garoppolo are going to end up on the same team regardless. Where do you kind of see Mac Jones potentially landing now, Jared?
It's interesting. I think he's a prime guy for someone to come up and move maybe into the Broncos pick, move to the Panthers pick. Maybe the Bears could make that move. Maybe Washington, maybe the Patriots, like you said. If I had to say, Mac Jones looks like a future Chicago Bear quarterback to me.
Oh God. Oh no. poor McCardell, or what's his name? McCorkle. Poor guy. Mac Jones. You hate to see it, but oh well.
Ooh, Gabriel Davis. I love it. Slipping all the way to 38. Must be because the Emmanuel Sanders decided he's wearing the number 1 jersey. That was the breaking news out of Buffalo today.
What's the news out of Buffalo?
That Emmanuel Sanders is going to be rocking the number 1.
Oh, interesting. I like that. Emmanuel Sanders, number 1.
So I'm looking at the format for these rookie, sophomore best ball drafts. So it's 1 quarterback, 1 running back, 2 wide receiver, tight end, and then 1 flex.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Tony.
It's definitely
drafting all these.
It's definitely a very unique way. Have you done any of these before?
No, this is the first one that I've done.
Yeah, no, these ones are definitely. It's definitely different for sure. It's definitely a different animal. Let's see.
Yeah, like what's your strategy?
I mean, I've been. What's my strategy? Draft good players. It's usually my strategy. But I know I'm kind of following a similar approach to I do normal best ball drafts, where I focus on drafting the wide receiver position, doing more wide receivers and running backs. Just because, especially because I went a little bit earlier on running back anyway, and not necessarily trying to find, oh, I need this running back to be this player or things like that. So let's see. And then, yeah, go heavy wide receivers, running backs, get a couple studs. I was able to get a couple studs at the beginning. Jonathan Taylor, Swift, Javonte Williams. So guys that project as bell cows at least next year. And then, took a dart throw on Kenneth Gainwell. He's my RB4 in the class. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, I went Akers and Gibson early, so I feel good about running back there. And then wrapped it up with A.J. Dillon.
Yeah, it goes by quick, which is it's kind of nice because it means you can do a ton of them like really, really quickly. But let's look and see how this team came out. All right, so I ended up getting Joe Burrow, Mac Jones, 4 running backs,
I like it.
and then wide receiver. Oh yeah, then you don't actually have to draft a tight end technically. So Jonathan Taylor, Swift, Williams, Gainwell, Chase, Pitts, Judy, Waddle, Marshall, Tylan, Wallace. So yeah, I think that it's kind of falls with what I would look for. And then I think Burrow is going to have a really good season this year. I love the fit with Jamar Chase. I think the biggest thing with Jamar Chase being added to the Bengals offense is just the fact that AJ Green was so bad last year, and just the exchange of, okay, let's get rid of Jamar Chase, or let's get rid of AJ Green and put in Jamar Chase, who is arguably one of the best wide receivers, at least from a vertical standpoint, that I looked at when I was kind of grading out all the receivers in terms of their vertical game. Jamar Chase was basically at the top from 2019. That's why we saw Joe Burrow have PFF's highest graded season from a passer throwing 20 yards down the field. And that was not the case last year because he was throwing at AJ Green. So the upgrade is tenfold. And I'm not so concerned about, Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins necessarily. I think Higgins, maybe his ultra upside gets hurt in this type of, if Chase ultimately goes to the Bengals. But I still think I think that actually hurt his value enough or hurt his stock enough where he'll probably become a decent value if he falls to like the 6th or 7th round, because his ADP is probably going to fall once Chase is, confirmed to be a Bengal.
Right. Yeah. Did you mock Chase to the Bengals in what came out on the website today from your mock draft?
Yep. Yeah. So, and that's the thing too. That's what I've seen the most of. That's what I think it's going to be. But I've still seen people mock, heavily regarded mock drafters put in Penei Sewell. So again, I don't think it's still a lock yet. I mean, I don't know what's a lock at this point anymore because things seemingly change, by the second right now is 4:15 p.m. here on the East Coast. So things are just changing extremely rapidly. But I guess I just think that the thing that I heard was the Bengals did a lot of work on looking at the second day tackles and offensive linemen, which tells me that they're confident. They want to get Jamar Chase. And the Lions, there was a report that came out that the Lions tried to trade up to number 4 to get Jamar Chase because they thought that the Bengals were going to take him, or at least the Dolphins were going to take him too. So I guess that doesn't necessarily matter as much, but I think it's just going to be Chase. I think that, look, man, what's going to sell more tickets? So, like, what are they going to put on the billboards in Cincinnati? They're going to put Penei Sewell? Come on. They're going to put Jamar Chase, and they're going to put Joe Burrow on. So that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with you. I know there is a large contingent of Bengals fans that saw the jersey release picture and the scar on Joe Burrow's knee, and that made them want to pick Penei Sewell. But I think the right thing to do is go get the best receiver in this draft class. And then with their second round pick, there's going to be a couple tackles available, whether it's a Tevin Jenkins, a Dylan Redunds, and Alex Leatherwood, one of those guys to come in and protect Burrow's blind side, because that is a big priority. And that's why, the Bengals have more than just a first round pick in this draft to build out the roster. So Chase, I definitely think is the move there.
And I was thinking about this too. Look, man, if you get a receiver that can get open downfield, like that's going to prevent Burrow from holding the ball as long as he did last year because he's waiting for AJ Green to separate. Okay. No wonder he got hit so many times, is because, look, man, AJ Green couldn't get open. So again, maybe that's a little bit of a stretch, but Jamar Chase, I think that I think it just makes way too much sense. But referring back to the Lions in the trade the news that they tried to trade up for Jamar Chase, do you think that takes them out of the market for a Waddle, for a Smith? Because maybe that's not, they look at Chase as a different tier and they're like, we want that receiver, or we want to trade down or go with the tackle. I think it makes, a lot of people have Waddle mocked. I know I had Waddle mocked to the Lions early on, or Devontae Smith, but does this mean it's going to be tackle for them most likely? Or, I think they want to trade down. That probably makes the most sense because they just have holes all over the roster. But if they're on the clock, they're stuck there. Is it going to be a tackle?
I think it depends what the Dolphins do at 6. I think when they committed to moving Hunt inside at guard, I thought that might be a little inclination that Penei Sewell could be who the Dolphins are thinking about at 6, which then might tilt the lines to say, well, we could go grab a Slater or Waddle. So I was thinking Waddle. That was what I filled out in my mock also earlier today. But that seems like the prime trade down spot. So if like the Bears want to come up and get a sliding Justin Fields or Mac Jones, or the Patriots or one of those other teams, I think that would be what the Lions would probably ideally try to do.
All right. As we hit on more of these trade rumors, the Saints. So Saints are rumored to go into the top 10, and it seems like JC Horn would be the guy that they would go for, because it seems like Caleb Farley's draft stock is falling at a drastic pace. I think in one of the more, it's either Peter Schrager's mock or Daniel Jeremiah's, like they didn't even have Caleb Farley in the first round. And, those guys are really tuned in to the NFL, and to see Farley not even in the first round, like that's crazy to me. But again, the guy has a ton of injury concerns, and teams, especially a guy that hasn't played, I could see why some teams are like, yeah, no, sorry, we can't draft him. I know I had him mocked to the Raiders at 17, and now I feel like that's too high, even though the Raiders need as much defensive help as humanly possible. And it's like, just take a flyer on a guy if he's healthy. Like, at least they know he's going to be good when he's on the field. But the Saints, would it be JC Horn? And also, I think that you can't get lines anymore of the first cornerback off the board of JC Horn over Patrick Surtain, because I think that it's been changed, because people are buying the fact that, yes, it's either going to be Saints are going to trade up, or that really Horn and Surtain is really much more of a 50-50 proposition. And it's not necessarily that neither of them are going to get past Dallas, but Dallas doesn't necessarily favor one over the other.
Right. I mean, if the Saints are trying to get up to the top 10 for a corner, that just seems like a huge overpay to go up, what would be like 20 spots to get into the top 10 for a non-quarterback. Like what has that ever happened before in the last like 5 years? Like is Julio the last time that happened?
I think that might be it. I mean, yeah, not for especially like a corner, but like I will say, like with Mickey Loomis in his past history, I remember looking at it, like a lot of the DBs he's taken high, most of the time have been safeties, except for Marshawn Lattimore. And again, if he's looking, they have a huge hole across the field from Marshawn Lattimore. They don't have anybody, because they had cut Norris Jenkins. They have a gaping hole there on their defense. So it makes sense from a need standpoint. But I've seen, and again, when we mentioned that Caleb Farley's falling, like he could fall to the Saints potentially at pick 28, I believe is where they're picking. So maybe the Saints it all depends on the price, because clearly it's something that they're intending, or they have the intention to do if they want to do it. And it would probably I would say that they would probably trade with Denver, because Denver seems like they're just like the last team that like wants to take a quarterback, but they realize that if they're picking at 9, and if Fields is there, or in this case, maybe probably more like Mac Jones, that they're the best, like the most positive EV thing is just take the quarterback. Like that's like the best investment you can make is just take the quarterback, but they're not necessarily sold on it, especially now that I guess because Mac Jones was so tied to the 49ers, like how do the other teams view Mac Jones, and how much are they willing to pay up for him versus a Fields or a Lance? It's just a lot of question marks, but I think that Denver would be my candidate to probably trade down. It seems like everything I've heard with them has been that it's either Rashawn Slater that they really like at number 9, or they try to trade down, or they'll take a quarterback if they can't trade down.
I think it would cost like 3 first-round picks for the Saints to get from 28 to all the way up to 9. So I don't know if the Broncos would do that, because then, I mean, you get the Saints 28 pick, and then you get their future first, and then probably their future first from the next year. But do they want to do that? Like, they probably want a top 15 pick in this draft. So that's the only problem. Like, will one of those teams be willing to move all the way down to 28? I don't know.
It's wild. I think another team that I thought, and this was done, I think this was actually done in my mock. So I actually had the Cardinals trading up with the Broncos, which I think is much more doable, because the Cardinals picking at 16, and I had them going after Jalen Waddle, because I think that they want to try to add a dynamic weapon for Kyler Murray, so he can take another step in year 3. mean, look, man, Cliff Kingsbury's kind of, is he like on the hot seat at all? Like, I don't know. I think everyone is obsessed. Like Zaven Collins is the ultimate chalk to Arizona at 16. Like, look at any mock draft, it's probably going to be Zaven Collins there. And look, if I'm Cliff Kingsbury, I'm like, yo, like I am an offensive minded head coach. I run the show here. And if I'm on the hot seat, I'm drafting a freaking offensive player here with the first round pick, especially because they don't have any picks. They have a first round pick, a second round pick, and they don't pick till the 5th round. So, I mean, if I'm Cliff Kingsbury, I'm going to be like, look, we need to get some offensive weapons here.
Peter Schrager from NFL Network had a little report in his mock this morning that the Cardinals are interested in Najee Harris at number 16 potentially if the corners are off the board or if the receivers are off the board. So that piqued my interest, especially for fantasy purposes, because the Cardinals offense is going to score a bunch of touchdowns this year. And I'm not buying into Chase Edmonds or James Conner so much as an RB1. So if the Cardinals use that first pick on a running back, that would be mighty fun. And speaking of running backs, the rumors are flying that the Steelers want one at 24, but now they're worried that the Jets might want one at 23. We might see all 3 of these guys go tonight, which is fantastic news for everybody who plays fantasy football.
Basically what that means is that the 3 running backs that get drafted are going to be taken in the first round, and then there's going to be no running backs taken on day 2 because the gap between the top 3 and then every other running back in this class is just so drastic that teams are like, yeah, well, we hate every other running back on day 2, so we're just going to take a running back in round 1 because there's no one else there. And I guess I get that to an extent, but I mean, I get Jacksonville because they have a lot of picks. So I feel like they can be a little bit more lenient, and even the Jets, but I mean, Cardinals and Steelers, like they have 1 draft pick, especially the Cardinals, man. The Cardinals don't have any draft picks and they're going to use it on a running back. Like it's just, I mean, why don't they just sign Chris Carson or something? Like,
I know. I agree with you. I'm not saying I would do it if I were GM for any of these teams, but it's fun. I mean, I think they view it honestly as like a safe quote unquote draft pick. Like these teams don't want to screw up and draft somebody that everybody laughs at. But when you take a running back with these early picks, generally they can come in and make an impact right away. And analytics people might make fun of you, but I don't think people in NFL circles are making fun of you.
Well, it's good for fantasy. So at the end of the day, we won't complain about it. We'll have to write about it and be like, yeah, maybe this wasn't the most like EV positive thing that they could have done here. But hey, if you're going to give this guy 300 touches, like, okay, whatever. We'll take it to the bank. We'll be happy with Najee Harris, Javonte Williams, and Travis Etienne being workhorse backs. Is there any other breaking news that's happened in the past? We've been on for like 23 minutes. Jared, I know that you're checking the phone. Is there anything that's happened?
Yeah. I'm seeing more Aaron Rodgers reports basically going back and forth saying that the Packers have 0 interest in trading him and they're just going to try to repair this relationship. But from the Rodgers side, that he's like done with the Packers and is ready to go full-time host Jeopardy.
Oh
I think
my God.
That's his bargaining leverage. He's like, if you don't trade me, then I'm just going to go host Jeopardy.
It was all his plan all along. It was like, yeah, I'm just going to do this Jeopardy thing on the side and I'll just see how and he's like, I really like this. I think that I might like this more than playing quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. So I'm just going to continue to be the host of Jeopardy, man. All right, Jared. So I'm putting you on the spot. Last thing here. I heard, so Steve gave his prediction about the Packers, about Aaron Rodgers going to the Dolphins. Sam said that he's going to stay put. I know you said that you think he's going to stay put, but let's say that, okay, it's not an option. Like he has to go somewhere else. Like where is he going to go? Is it the Patriots? Is he going to be Aaron Rodgers with Bill Belichick?
That's tough. He's not going to the NFC. I can tell you that much. There is no way that the Packers, with the NFC Championship being their boogeyman, one of the best rivalries in football right now, they would have to send him to the AFC. So the Raiders were one of the teams that Rap, I think, dropped. I don't know what the Raiders would be able to trade to satisfy the Packers.
Derek Carr, Henry Ruggs. They got Josh Jacobs.
And their first-round pick for the next 10 seasons. It's the Raiders, the Patriots you mentioned, I think would be interesting, but that would be fun from just to like see everybody react on Twitter because everybody hates the Patriots. So just to watch Bill Belichick get Aaron Rodgers and win another Super Bowl, I think would be funny just from a let's watch everything burn perspective.
And you'd get the Aaron Rodgers Patriots game against the Buccaneers on potentially that game is rumored. So the Patriots play the Buccaneers next season. That game is rumored because the schedule doesn't release until the middle of May. It's rumored to be on Thanksgiving. Just imagine that type of Thanksgiving game. Tom Brady in a Buccaneers uniform returning to Gillette Stadium against Aaron Rodgers in a Patriots jersey. That's something God. You cannot. That's epic. That's epic.
Oh my God. Yeah, Shefty just tweeted that no team has made a trade offer for Aaron Rodgers this offseason, but they've reached out to inquire, whatever the heck that means. Well, this is legitimately a soap opera.
Hey, man, we still got, 3.5 hours till the draft, or 3.5 hours till the draft. So we need filler. We need content. And Aaron Rodgers, again, he gave it to us on Jeopardy. Now he's giving it to us again. So you know what? Round of applause for Aaron Rodgers. Thank you. Keeping us entertained, keeping us on our toes. You got to love it. You got to love it, man.
Yeah. All right. I'm not sure I'm going to make it to 8 p.m. at this rate.
All right. Before we get you out, Jared, let's get a bold prediction from you for tonight's draft. Again, you can pretty much say anything at this point because it seems like everything is basically fair game. But let's get a bold prediction here for tonight's draft. Let's lay something on me.
Ooh, a bold prediction. Let's see. Let's go with Mac Jones is the 5th quarterback drafted, and we get a 6th quarterback picked at the end of round 1.
All right. Who's the 6th quarterback going to be? You got to tell me. You got to give me names, man.
Let's go with Kellen Mond. I think somebody gets excited about his athleticism and trades up with the Bucks to get up to 32.
Dude, Kellen Mond, man, is going to be my dynasty 2-quarterback league target in rookie drafts. Just want to get Kellen Mond in the 3rd round, or if people are sleeping on him, whatever, because there's going to be a huge gap between the top 5 guys and Kellen Mond. So go get Kellen Mond. All right, guys. Thank you.
Chris Sims is smiling somewhere.
Yeah, he's always smiling. But unless Justin, I can't imagine Justin Fields falls to 32 though. Just can't imagine that happening. It's not going to happen. Who knows? All right. Well, also make sure, guys. Again, PFF is going live tonight, 7 p.m. Make sure you go check out the live show, all the analysts. And again, 30% off any subscription with promo code DRAFT30 right here. DRAFT30. Boom. All right. Good luck, everybody. Enjoy the draft and just watch the chaos ensue.